What up, everybody? It's your boy DFS Up North here with another Sunday night showdown breakdown, talking about the Packers and the Steelers. We've got the Aaron Rodgers revenge game against the Packers. I don't know, what is this, like his third one? I think he played there with the Jets last year at Lambeau. But yeah, Rodgers revenge game. Unfortunately, not at Lambeau. We are at Heinz Field. With the Steelers, looking like 3-point dogs at home. 24-21 is the spread right now. 45-point total. I actually think this is going to be a really, really good game. I'm excited for this one. There's a lot of different ways that we can attack it. There's one sort of strategy that I'm looking at. Talk about it. We'll build some lineups. We'll get there. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about all of the captain plays, the MVP plays. Again, if you're not a DFS Army VIP, you want access to this whole sheet, use that code DFS Army. Gets you 10% off any VIP subscription. Get in and then hit me up in the Discord, right? Me and somebody are chopping it up about a $1,100 ticket that he won on DraftKings right now. Trying to figure out a lineup. I'm filming this Saturday night because there's really not that much injury issue that we're working with here outside of the kicker. So, but yeah, we can help you guys out, build lineups, things like that. And again, I always think the best part of DFS Army is the community of people that we have there that are helping you, build lineups, celebrating your wins. It really does. People say this all the time, but it really does feel like family there. So the Packers on the road to Pittsburgh, taking on the Steelers here. We do have some injury issues. So the Packers are pretty thin at wide receiver. Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden is questionable. I think he probably plays. He's been limited, but we are likely to get Christian Watson back this week for the Packers, though I think the rumor is that he's going to be on something of a snap count. So you've got guys like, your number one receiver is going to be Romeo Doubs, right? Then you're going to have Tucker Kraft. Then you're going to be looking at guys like, Christian Watson, but also all the way down here to guys like Malik Heath, Savion Williams. Some of these turd punts are actually going to come into play for the Packers this week. So you're going to want to, if you're building in the DS, not to exclude any of those guys. Anybody that can catch the ball for the Packers is going to be in play here. But what the Packers do is they run the ball. Josh Jacobs, I thought we were going to miss him last week with illness, injury. I think it was a calf late in the week, but popped off against the Cardinals for 2 touchdowns, right? So Jacobs has really been sort of all of this offense, and it's limiting Jordan Love's ceiling, right? And that's sort of the edge that I wanted to talk about. I'm not full out saying, like, if I'm building the domination station, I'm not full out making a rule that says if Jordan Love is in the lineup, then Josh Jacobs cannot be. All right. I think you can do that. But it's not that they vulture each other, but if Jacobs is having a smash day, especially when you look at the prices here, right? 16.5 and 15 in the captain slot. If Jacobs is having a day, it's going to be very, very hard for Love to get there unless it's like a 48-point win, right? Unless they get, big numbers, right? Or potentially, I guess you could see Jordan Love throw a couple of passes, Josh Jacobs' way. But the reality is that Love has not been throwing multiple TD passes in a game, mostly because Josh Jacobs has been smashing. Similar to what we kind of talked about in the 10 under 10 earlier this week with Daniel Jones, right? If Jonathan Taylor is crushing, it's hard for Daniel Jones to really get there as, the guy, right? And I think we see the same sort of thing with Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs this week. I do like the idea when we look at sort of the ownership here. Love is 12%. In the captain, I do like going some Jordan Love lineups here. And here's the other thing, like, not only just with Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love, but if Josh Jacobs at his price tag doesn't smash, I think it's going to be very, very hard for him to get there in the flex regardless. So I'm actually going to probably be under in the flex and maybe a little bit over in the captain slot. And like I said, in that captain slot, I'm trying to potentially or likely not having any Jordan Love. That's the one rule I guess you probably could make, right? Is if you go, if Josh Jacobs is your captain, we have 0 Jordan Love, right? But both viable captains, right? I think both great plays. 2 TDs again last week for Jacobs. Like I said, I think if you have Jordan Love as your captain, you're looking at Dobbs and Kraft. If you want to get funky, you get Christian Watson, maybe a Luke Musgrave. could potentially catch a touchdown pass here, or one of those guys like Malik Heath or Savion Williams, right? They're gonna make some adjustments on their practice squad, I believe, as well tomorrow. So we're gonna have to watch that. Though they did cut Ben Sims today to make room for Watson, so maybe that's all they end up doing. But yeah, over on the Steelers side of the ball, we get Calvin Austin back this week, and really there's no big injuries over there outside of just now everybody's healthy. So who gets the ball, right? What we've seen with Calvin Austin being out, it's been the DK Metcalf show, right? But then we've also seen the three-headed tight end tandem of, or it's tandem's two, right? Trifecta, I don't even know what to say, of Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, and then Darnell Washington, sort of all getting a bunch of usage here from Rodgers. And now what's going to happen with Calvin Austin back? I think we see Jonnu and Pat Freiermuth sort of be the guys. I'm not, if I have to pick one, it's going to be Jonnu Smith. Okay. I just think he's a better pass catcher. Freiermuth went off last week. Let's see what the ownership looks like here. 5% John. Oh, maybe people like Freiermuth a little less than I had thought. The ownership is kind of crazy on, Freiermuth actually looks like sort of the leverage play here. Darnell Washington obviously does, but yeah. All right. Well, I could be convinced. I do still like Jonnu, but I think there's some value in Freiermuth. I think Rodgers is actually pretty viable here as a captain or MVP. I think he's a better MVP play than captain. But you know, he can 6 TD passes, right? In his last, I wrote 3 games here. It's actually last 2 games. He had 4 and 2. The passing game works coming. Austin being back will help. Like, I don't always love non-rushing QBs, but he's been getting it done, right? And they've been doing a nice job keeping him upright, which is huge. Jaylen Warren, obviously their number 1 guy here. Smash last week against Cincy. This is a much more difficult matchup. If he gets the passing game usage, he can get there. I'm not convinced that necessarily happens, but you know what? We have seen that underdog running back be kind of the guy, especially if they're at home in showdowns. And again, if you want access to sort of all of that data and that info, my guy DFS spreadsheets. Okay, love that name, by the way, from up in Canada. Breaks down all of the showdowns, FanDuel, and DraftKings for you to see trends, things like that maybe you can look for. Rodgers' favorite target is DK Metcalf. I think he's a great play. I love the price. I love the ownership at 6% here in the captain slot. Like, absolutely. Tucker Kraft, multiple touchdown guy. Talked about Dobbs looking for his big helmet in the end zone. Both good plays. That ownership on DK Metcalf, though, that's really intriguing at 6%. I can get on board with that. You know, looking at double or triple that. I think you can punt Jonnu or Pat Freiermuth. Why can I say that? In the captain as well. We talked about Golden. He kind of had a nice week last week, but it just really hasn't, you know, been the guy that we maybe thought he would be as the draft pick that he was, even with Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed getting hurt. Like, the opportunities have been there. Christian Watson being hurt. And he just hasn't taken advantage of it. And then he popped up on the injury report late in the week. Not really interested there. Love taking some darts on Christian Watson. It's a knee. If it was like a hamstring or a soft tissue that he'd been out with, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But when we're talking about a knee, should be better now. And you know, I'm interested in Watson catching a deep ball, right, from Jordan Love. We can see that. I think that he catches a deep ball like first couple plays of the game, which would be awesome to see. Boswell's the guy for the Steelers. Here's the issue with the kickers, McManus and Haversack. Haversack's been great, with McManus hurt the last 2 games. McManus, limited fashion practice Thursday and Friday. We'll see. We're going to want to look at the healthy scratchers, or the inactives. That's the word I'm looking for. A healthy scratch. That's a hockey term. And inactives for the kickers here to see which one we're going. The nice part is that they're the same price on both sides, so it's a very easy global swap. Packers D, okay, right? Rodgers has been doing a good job of not taking a bunch of sacks and throwing a bunch of picks. Steelers D, I think, is intriguing here. This is a pretty good spot for them. They can get after the passer. Love can turn it over. I don't necessarily love defense in this game, but I think both are fine. We talked about Darnell Washington, right? I think any of these three tight ends could end up being the guy here, right? You got to have some exposure to all of them. Rowan Wilson, another guy who is not taking advantage of his opportunities. Kenny Gainwell, definitely in play here. He had 6 targets last week, so we're getting a guy at 3K, and the ownership is going to be 22%. But again, interesting. cheap punt. I think Malik Heath, if he's active here, they'll have to bring him out to practice squad, I think, again. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of, San Francisco 49ers receiver that they activated last week, Russell Gage, and I can't remember. I want to say it's something Malik, isn't it? But yeah, Malik Heath, Chris Brooks, no. Savion Williams, yes. I think he's viable. You got it. Wide receiver 4 or 5 here. Luke Musgrave, I think, get some exposure. Again, anybody that can catch a pass for the Packers that's healthy, that has a heartbeat, we need to get exposure to. A bunch of turds down here. You can get John Fitzpatrick. He's caught a touchdown this year, I think, for them. If we look over at FanDuel, there really isn't much different here. There are a couple of salary things that I want to look at with you guys here as well. So yeah, I think Kraft is really expensive. I will have less of him over here. Freiermuth, right? 6% at 7K, and then Jonnu, right? 5.4, almost 20%, right? Intriguing. I do like some of these Steelers punts, like a Roman Wilson. I get that he's not done anything, but again, a guy who could catch a touchdown pass like Benny Skowronek, right, in week 1, who had literally caught a touchdown pass, and then in the next 5 games he's had 1 target, which is crazy. But otherwise, like these two sites really do sort of work pretty similarly this week in terms of how it goes. Obviously, I like, the quarterbacks a little bit more in the MVP over here because of the half-point PPR, but Jacobs is about the same sort of play. Yeah, I think that the Aaron Rodgers ownership in the MVP is far too low for what this game entails. Dobbs, I can get there. I can get there on Dobbs. What's his ownership in 20? I'm going to be way overweight on guys like Dobbs, Kraft, even at the upgraded price on FanDuel, I'm going to be higher there. All right, let's look at DraftKings Showdown. Let's say we're going to build. I'm going by. It's sorted here by, it looks like alphabetical, which is kind of crazy. All right, so let's say we're going to go with a non-Josh Jacobs lineup. All right, and let's say we're going to go with let's go Dobbs in the captain. Multiple touchdown guys. So if you're going to get a pass catcher, right, we got to get Jordan Love in there. I say I'm really high on Aaron Rodgers. I really like Tucker Kraft. This sort of build is actually pretty nice. Now we can go with, let's say we've got Rodgers. We need a pass catcher. Can I get? No, I can't get DK Metcalf, can I? It would leave me with 1,000. Who can I play for 1,000? $1,000 bills. Cam Hayward? No. Not quite. Not quite. So I can't get DK. Well, let's just say, let's go Jonnu, right? And see what it looks like. Jonnu. 6,200. I can get Austin. Can I get a kicker? No. Oh yeah, I get both my kickers here. But I can't get up to, some other guys. So I would probably end up with somebody like, hey, go double tight end here again. Passing bonanza. I actually like that lineup quite a bit, to be honest with you. So yeah, I do think that the key to this slate, and watch me be wrong and watch them both get into the nuts here. But I think the key is that you go no Josh Jacobs with Jordan Love. So like this lineup, let's build Josh Jacobs in here. Let's add A-Raj. We want the quarterbacks. Let's go DK. Let's say this is just going to be like the Josh Jacobs show here. Nobody else is really going to get involved. We can play cheap Jonnu. Let's go like Kenny Gainwell catching a touchdown pass. I don't hate that. What do I got left here? Oh, I can play like 3,200. Who's this? Darnell Washington, Savion Williams, Luke Musgrave, like Malik Heath. I think any of these guys are actually pretty viable here. Like, let's play it. I don't mind, especially if you're going like a Josh Jacobs type of like captain lineup or MVP lineup. I don't hate punting some sort of turd, right? And what I mean by that is some guy that he's been just sort of, might catch a pass, might do something like, I don't hate that strategy. So that's sort of what I got here, guys. Again, we'll have inactives. We'll do all that stuff tomorrow or tonight. Sorry, you're watching this. I'm not letting this, not releasing this until Sunday afternoon, so everybody can focus on the main slate. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited about this game. We've had a really good slate of I feel like we really just haven't had a dud. It used to be that Thursday all the time was the dud, and Thursday games have been pretty good outside of this week with my Vikings getting absolutely trounced by the Chargers and Justin Herbert and Madison Beer. But yeah, it is it's interesting. It's been a really good slate of these primetime games, and it's been kind of fun, especially when we're getting 2 on Monday night. Sometimes we've had some good games overseas as well, so it's been a really fun NFL season, and guys have been winning like crazy at DFS Army, and I'm excited to watch it keep going. So cheers everybody, I hope you have a great week, and we will chat soon.